Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to my final preview video. We are finally here, and the two in best form players, the hottest player in the world right now, Daniil Medvedev and Rafael Nadal, have reached this final. Both of them have beaten their opponents in the draw. Rafa got a walkover in the second round. Otherwise, they played their matches to the full, to the end, and this tournament is finally getting to its end. And what can we say? Well-deserved spot for both of them. Daniil Medvedev beat Grigor Dimitrov in 3 straight sets in the semifinal. He was a much better player through the match, even though you can say that the first set was very tight and Dimitrov played a little bit better, but he wasn't clutch on the important points, and that's why Daniil Medvedev won. And same goes for Rafa's match against Matteo Berrettini, where Berrettini obviously had 2 set points that he didn't convert, and Rafa showed why he's a fighter, why he is so great in great matches, in tight matches. And then he managed to win the first set in tie break, and then he got the break in the second, and after that the match was pretty over. And Rafa didn't do a normal day at the job performance, because the young Italian tried to play the best tennis that he has, but it wasn't enough. Like many predicted, it was going to be a final between Medvedev and Rafael Nadal, and that's the final we got. And that's the final I think most of people want to see, because we want to see how Medvedev reacts when he's in the Grand Slam finals. It's his first Grand Slam final. It's his, I think it's 6th final of the year. He has won twice this year in Bulgaria and in Cincinnati, where he won his first and maiden ATP Masters tournament. And it's a good run for him this autumn. Since Wimbledon, Daniil Medvedev played 22 matches and he has won 20 of them. So his run on the hard court season, the American hard court season, we can say, has been terrific by his standards. And he has developed his game. He has taken this last step, showed that he's consistent, and he has reached now 4 straight finals. He lost to Kyrgios in Washington. He got destroyed by Rafa in Montreal, 6-0, 6-0, 6-3, 6-0. And then he won in Cincinnati after beating Rublev, Kachanov, and I think he beat Novak there also. And finally won in the final against David Goffin. So that was an evidence of that he was not like, that he was not going to disappear, because he showed his level there, and he was a dark horse for most of the people in the US Open. And now he's here. He can grab his 6th title in his career, but that's easier said than done, because we all know who he's going to face. He's going to face Rafael Nadal, the guy that is the most consistent tennis player on this planet. Look at his Grand Slam matches, his Grand Slam tournaments this year. He lost in Australia, in Australian Open against Novak. He did a superb tournament there. He played a good match in the final. Problem was, Novak played out of his world tennis and basically couldn't miss in that match. He played like an animal, like a robot, like you can call like a master in that match, Novak. You will never see another clean performance like that from Djokovic, because he reached the highest level of them all in that final. I've never seen a number 1 player beat a number 2 player in such a convincing way that Novak did against Rafael Nadal. And then he won in French Open, as we all expected. It was nothing new there. And then he reached the semifinal of Wimbledon, where he lost that day a better player, because Rafa had played better in the tournament before he entered the semifinal. But Roger Federer was simply better that day, even though Rafa put up on a match because he doesn't sink his level. And Roger won in 4 sets. And then he won this pre-tournament before US Open in Montreal very convincingly. And he is always one of the favorites in every tournament he starts. And a hardcore tournament like US Open, Rafa has won that tournament 3 times. So if he wins this time, which he will probably do, he will end up with 4 titles. And to all those people out there that say Rafa is only a clay court player, I have just a couple of words for you. Go get lost, because you don't clearly know a thing about tennis. How can you say that he's only a clay court player? If he wins, which is might do, I'm 90% sure, he will have 4 US Open titles. The greats like Jimmy Connors, Pete Sampras, Roger Federer, all of them have won 5 titles in New York. And with this victory, he's just 1 behind them, with still more to come. He has won 2 Wimbledon titles. He have only won once in Australian Open. He have lost 4 finals there, if I can remember correct, to Wawrinka, where he was injured. He broke the match. He withdrew from the match with an injury. He lost to Roger Federer there in the epic final 2017. And he lost to Novak Djokovic in another epic final in 2012 and this year's final. So don't come and say Rafa is only a clay court player. And then you can count the multiple semifinals that he reached in Wimbledon, all the US Open finals that he have reached. Rafa is a complete player. He's complete as Federer and Novak Djokovic of reaching quarters, semis, finals. Those 3 are the best in that area. So please stop. Don't call Rafa a clay court player. Yes, he has won most of his titles on clay, but that's because he's much better than everybody on clay. And he have no one to challenge him. He'll have no one that ask him the questions. He have no one except a prime Novak that can ask questions. Maybe team in 3 sets tournaments, but not on French Open. He hasn't even been close to losing at French Open. That's the funny thing. 12 finals. Have any of those finals gone to 5 sets? No, none of them. None of them have gone to 5 sets. That shows how superior he is on clay. And people forget that when he steps into the other surfaces. They only think of the clay. It's not its fault that he's better than everybody on clay. Challenge him. Win. All right. Enough about his clay court performances. This is a hardcore tournament. But anyway, this final is very exciting in many ways because Rafa is the only one of the big 3 who have reached the final this year. And what can Daniil Medvedev do? Because we all know he's a ball machine. He can rally from the court. He's hard to hit through. And he has a game that makes his opponent think, what do I have to do to get through this guy? Because he's like a wall. That's how Daniil Medvedev plays. If you look at his playing style, it's very unorthodox. It seems like it's very sloppy. But he has a unorthodox forehand also that reminds me of, maybe this is a bad example, but I'm thinking about Bernard Tomic. His forehand and Daniil Medvedev's forehand are similar. And his game style reminds me a little bit of Ferrer, Gilles Simon, and maybe you can add in Andy Murray also also. So he's good from the forehand, he's good from the backhand, he has a superb good serve. Not deadly, but it's difficult to hit winners and do good returns from his serve. Both his first and second serve are pretty good, better than Rafa's. That's only section that he's better than Rafael, but only with a little bit margin. So Daniil Medvedev is here to stay. He's mentally tough. He have reached 4 finals in a row now. He will have to be on court to struggle at least, in my opinion, 4 hours if you want to beat Rafa. Because we all know Rafa, the guy that he's the opposite of Santa Claus. If Santa Claus gives present and gifts, Rafa is a totally opposite. He's the Grinch. He will never give you a free point. And if you look at Rafa's playing style, what can we say? He's complete in every section. He has improved his serve. His volley is underrated. His ground strokes from the baseline. There are not many people that can rally with him from the baseline. That's only, we have seen 2 players do that. The one is, of course, Novak Djokovic. And the other one is Stan Wawrinka when he have his best day of his life. Federer have another playing style, as you know. He has the first strike, ultra-offensive tennis style. That works also. Those are the 2 kind of playing style that will hurt Rafa's game. And since Medvedev is a baseliner and not as good baseliner as Rafa, he has to do something exceptional. He have maybe to change rhythm. He can rally with Rafa from the baseline. Yes, he can. He can do that for 25 to 30 balls. He can rally that long rallies, but Rafa can do that for several hours. And I'm asking questions to myself, can Medvedev keep this level for 2 hours, 3 hours? That is necessary? I don't think so. Because he has to win in 3 straight sets if he want to beat Rafa in a shorter time. And the longer the match goes, I think that Daniil Medvedev is a guy that gets tired. Because I've seen that pattern, he gets cramp. His long, tall body gets beating if he plays too long. And that's why I think Rafael will win this match 3-1 or 3-0. I don't think this match is going to go to the 5th set. But that's just a prediction. I have Rafael Nadal as my number 1 prediction before this Grand Slam. To be honest, I'm not that super fan of Rafa, but I admire his dedication, his fierceness on court. He's willing to win every ball, and that is professionalism to the maximum. Professional. That's Rafa. And when he meets these low-ranked players, like we have seen him done in many of his Grand Slam titles, he always meet low-ranked players. But when he destroys them, that's the thing, how he wins his matches. Have you seen Rafa go to 5 sets to a guy like Millman or maybe Shang or even Cilic? No, you haven't seen him that. Why? Because he doesn't sink his level. And there are a couple of reasons what I think why Rafa will win this match. Number one is, of course, he's a better player, a more complete player. That's why he's the favorite. And the second one is he's more consistent. He's consistent from every part of his game. He barely misses. He barely makes unforced errors. And the last couple of years, he has stepped into the court more. He has been a little bit more aggressive. And that's and that's why he creates more winners nowadays. He has improved his serve. His volleys is good. It's very he reaches a percentage of 75% wins on his net approaches. And then we have his experience, of course. That's number 3. He's now in his 27th Grand Slam finals. If you don't count tomorrow's Grand Slam, it's 26, and he has only lost 9 of them. 4 to Novak Djokovic, 3 to Roger Federer, and 1 to Wawrinka. I'm sorry, pardon my math. It's 8 losses in the Grand Slam final. He lost to Wawrinka, and 4 to Novak Djokovic, 2 in Australia Open, 1 at US Open, and 1 at Wimbledon. So clearly Novak has beaten Rafa on every Grand Slam, and that's remarkable. Federer haven't done that. And he has lost 3 finals to Roger Federer, 2 at Wimbledon, and 1 at Australian Open. So my number 4 reason, he doesn't go down in level. He always stays up. He doesn't go down in his level because he's consistent. He's fierce. He wants to do everything to win. And even if he has a huge lead, he still wants to go forward. He doesn't relax on court. That you can see Federer relax when you have 5-2, and then his opponent has his serve, and he makes a sloppy game to save him for the serve, and then he serve homes the match. Sometimes you can see Novak do that also. Rafa will never do that. It's not in his nature. And the number 5 reason, and that's one of the most important reasons, he takes advantage and punishes his opponent's weaknesses. Because Rafa knows what he have to do to beat Daniil Medvedev. He knows what he have to do. And he's that with all of his opponents. Look at his matches against Federer in French Open, and you will clearly see what I mean. He will hit through to his weakness and use that to his advantage and win the match. But a play against like Novak, they're equal on that level. Because Novak is so complete, he doesn't have that kind of weaknesses. Federer has his backhand and his returns. And Novak, sometimes he can disappear from the match, but I think that's a concentration thing. He can lose focus. And what are Rafael Nadal's weaknesses? He doesn't have many, in my opinion. If you want to beat him, you have to challenge him from the baseline with hard, flat ground strokes, like Söderling, like Del Potro when he won in US Open 2009, when he beat both Roger and Rafa. That's kind of performance, or Novak super prime performances. Because you saw the match against Novak Djokovic in the Rome final. I think he bageled Novak there. How did Rafa play there? How did Novak play there? Novak wasn't up to his level. He dipped. And Rafa was there all the time and punished him as soon as he got the chance. And that's another thing that Rafa is good at. Take advantage of break points. And when those opportunity comes, he takes them mostly. That's why I think Rafael Nadal will win this final. And that's why I hold him as my favorite. I have done that in my preview also. But Daniil Medvedev have nothing to lose. It's his last match in the tournament. I think he's going to find another gear, give his extra 100%. I hope he's not injured or tired. Who knows? He can put up a hell of a performance. But will it be enough? No. Because when Rafa plays sometimes, before the match, his opponents, I know they feel, oh, I'm going to meet Rafa. This is going to be difficult. It's already in their head. And sometimes Rafa makes their opponent wish that they wasn't born, because he's that terrible good when he's in the zone. Rafa is so good, so consistent, that he's like the big three. They're on the top of the mountain. Novak and Rafa are still on the top of the mountain. Federer is on his way down, but not quite yet. But Rafa, he wants to stay there as long as possible. Rafa won't go down very easily. That's his biggest assets in his mindset also, like Novak. Roger is tough mentally too. Don't get me wrong, he's not a weak player. Otherwise he wouldn't have won 20 Grand Slam. So I hope this match will be a good match. Not that if Rafa win the first tight set and then he will win the other second and third very comfortable, like he did against Berrettini, like he has done against Schwartzman, like he has done against Cilic, where he took a set from him, and against Chang, who all of them played good in the first set but lost. And that shows Rafa's mental toughness. And Daniil Medvedev is the first Russian since Marat Safin who reaches Grand Slam final. Marat Safin won US Open 2002, I think, and then he reached the finals of Australian Open 2005 before he, in the semifinals, he won against Roger Federer in a superb match where Roger had match points. One of his 20 or 21 matches where he had match points and lost after that. And he can be the second guy on this millennium to win a Grand Slam title from Russia. We will see if that happens. All right, folks. Thanks for listening and watching this video. Have a nice day. Take care and bye-bye.